I am grateful to members who signed my motion and who, in doing so, have allowed this debate to take place. I would also, on behalf of the Parliament, like to thank Thomas Bradley. Thomas has made 600 donations since he started donating blood in 1967. The Scottish Blood Transfusion Service tells me, and I quote, "There has hardly been a time in his life when Thomas has not been donating regularly. He continues to donate platelets every 3 weeks. He says that he's been very lucky with his health, with one bad spell back in 1971. Thomas is a motorbike fanatic, and after a serious accident he needed emergency surgery and, ironically, a life-saving blood transfusion. Thomas was aware that somebody else had donated the blood that he needed and now sees his donations as a way of returning that favour. Thomas has made a fantastic contribution and has saved hundreds of lives, both directly and by allowing patients to undergo vital treatment. We cannot thank him enough. Thomas's contribution is humbling and I'm envious. My donation record is considerably less than his, but each donation has a potential to save a life. The decision to give blood was a difficult one for me because I'm terrified of needles. And I was reflecting on this when I was preparing for the debate and thinking not an awful lot had changed since I first gave blood. But that's not strictly true, because the first time I gave blood, I didn't sleep at all the night before. I was absolutely petrified. But things are better now. I sleep the night before. The fear doesn't really kick in until I'm lying on the bed, but I'm still scared. So being scared is not an excuse. If I can do it, anyone can. Of course, that fear pales into insignificance when compared with the fear faced by families when their loved ones lie seriously ill, waiting for a blood transfusion. On one of the occasions I gave blood, I was beside somebody who worked for a major high street chemist. My fellow donor commented to the nurse that she would have to work late that night to make up the time she spent giving blood. I was shocked. It occurred to me that if she wasn't able to work late due to a family commitment or travel arrangements, she would be unable to donate, and how many others find themselves in that same position. My plea is a simple one: to allow people paid time off to give blood. Employers should give paid time off for a whole range of things. They give paid time off for doctors and dental appointments, for example. Many employers do already give paid time off. Many go further and invite the blood transfusion service to their workplace, either with their donor vehicle or for smaller boardroom donor sessions, when they don't have the critical mass of workers to justify the use of the vehicle. I'd like to pay tribute to them for going that extra step. Lives are at stake if people don't donate. Therefore, employers should give paid time off for our collective health care in the same way as they do for our individual health care needs. I hope the Minister will emphasise the need for donors and add her voice to this plea in summing up. This is even more important as experts are warning about a rise in swine flu cases in the autumn. If this does happen, donors will be affected and in the same way as everybody else. They will not be allowed to donate if they've contracted swine flu until they're clear of the virus, and I imagine this will also be the case for those who have come in close contact with someone with swine flu. There is a real possibility that this could hit supplies of blood. More donors would ensure a secure transfusion service. I'm sure many employers will say that they can't countenance this at a time of economic downturn. I know this would present a challenge, but I'm not suggesting people travel long distances to give blood. It should take no longer than a doctor's appointment. The Scottish Blood Transfusion Service encourages 3 donations per person per year. This doesn't add up to a huge time commitment for the individual or for the employer, but the contribution to society is immense. More seriously, employers need to consider how they would feel if it was their loved one that needed that blood donation. Myself and my colleagues, David Stewart and Peter Peacock, implemented a policy whereby our staff were allowed paid time off to donate blood. As a result, we now have 4 new donors within our team and over 50% of our workforce donate. Some of them had given blood before but had subsequently been turned away because they were on medication. However, the medication criteria has now changed, and some people who were previously unable to donate can now do so. So I'd urge anyone who has been turned away in the past due to a medical condition or medication to check if they now fall into the category of those who are now allowed to give blood. The Petitions Committee heard a petition this week asking for blood donors to be paid for their donations, and I need to be clear, that's not what I'm asking for. Only by acting selflessly and donating blood should anyone donate. However, they should not face any financial detriment for doing so. Whilst I don't agree with the terms of the petition, I was really heartened to see young people highlighting this issue and taking part in this very important debate. It's great that our young people see the importance of donation, and I'm glad that they're looking for ways of increasing our donor base. I was recently made aware of a book by Richard Titmuss entitled The Gift Relationship, From Human Blood to Social Policy. In the book, Titmuss argues that voluntary blood donation is an example of genuine socialism, people gifting blood to strangers in a truly altruistic action. He goes on to argue that whilst giving blood might make us feel a bit queasy for a short while, or maybe even longer for some of us, it may also make us feel more human and content with ourselves and others. The relevance to this in today's debate is that collective action by government, employers and others can support that gift relationship, giving people a real opportunity to donate blood by making it convenient. If they had that opportunity, many more people would choose to give blood, not just for purely practical reasons of increasing the amount of blood flowing through the transfusion service, but as an expression of their fellowship with other people and that of their intrinsically social nature of their humanity.